Daenerys Targaryen. She says she is the mother of dragons. But would you trust her with your kids? Her father was a maniac. She palled around with Dothraki terrorists. She asked the city of Karth for a government bailout. Then she lost 3 baby dragons after placing them in an unlocked wooden box. An unlocked wooden box. This Khaleesi wants to be queen of the 7 kingdoms, but can she be trusted? Daenerys Targaryen. Wrong for dragons. Wrong for the realm. Paid for by the Committee to Protect Dragons.
We don't know anything about him.
He was never really vetted.
Is he really the true-born son of Robert Baratheon?
All over the 7 kingdoms, people are asking the same question. Who is the real King Joffrey? The people of Westeros are hurting. Winter is coming. Crop yields are falling, and the price of fuel is going up.
The cost of peat moss is through the thatched roof.
And this young and inexperienced king takes advice from a whoremongering imp and has launched an illegal war in the north. What is King Joffrey hiding? This is not our kind of family values. King Joffrey. What a bastard.
What a bastard.
Paid for by the young Baratheons for freedom. Robb Stark. He's the biggest celebrity in the North. But his father was a traitor. He arrested his own mother. His bastard brother deserted the Night's Watch. And he couldn't defend his own castle. Worst of all, Robb Stark hasn't stopped the wildlings from invading our lands and taking our jobs. He even has an illegal alien for a nanny. And now he wants to be king in the North? King? Some people say he's really a wolf. Some people say he eats dead people. We can't wait until it's too late. Send a raven to Winterfell now and tell Robb Stark to go back home. Stop eating dead people and defend the damn wall. This ad paid for by Crossbows GPS.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
When you can't find anything to watch on cable, you get bored. When you get bored, you listen to radio cooking shows. When you listen to radio cooking shows, you invite a friend over for dinner. When you invite a friend over for dinner, you use twice as many beans. When you use twice as many beans, you expel deadly farts that kill your friend's dog. When you kill your friend's dog, your friend becomes unstable. When your friend becomes unstable, you're sued for everything you're worth. When you're sued for everything you're worth, you're thrown to the streets. When you're thrown to the streets, you devote your life to world domination. When you devote your life to world domination, you become an evil fascist overlord. When you become an evil fascist overlord, old friends plot their revenge. When old friends plot their revenge, you are shot in the back of the head. And when you're shot in the back of the head, you miss your jazzercise appointment. Don't miss your jazzercise appointment. Upgrade to Indirect TV. Go online or call 1-800-IRECT-TV.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven Ultra Lipo Stick. Carbohydrates are bad, bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good, good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra Lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used Ultra Lipo Stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra Lipo Stick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra Lipo Stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Well, hello, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L-Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And as usual, I check on a daily basis, as I did check today, and it has not changed. It is Thursday, April the 16th, in the year of our Lord 2015, the day after T-Day. T-Day was tax day yesterday. Hopefully everybody got their taxes out. If you owed money, I hope you took care of that payment. Hopefully you didn't owe anything. Hopefully, this is a perfect time of year right now to make plans so you do not owe the government next year. It's also a good time to plan to make sure that you are not going to get a huge refund next year. Now, don't give the government your money for free. I mean, it's an interest-free loan is what you're doing, is what you're giving them. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to give because after all, if you owe them money, they're not going to say it's interest-free, that's for sure. So don't use it as it. Learn how to be a little bit more fiscally responsible and disciplined and set the money aside yourself in a savings account. Here's an idea. Figure out, what your tax bill is this year. And, it'll give you a rough idea of what it will be next year. So then you go ahead and you adjust your deductions, your payroll deductions, so you get that money in your paycheck every week instead of giving it to the government. Then take that amount, and a lot of you will have automatic, payroll deposits, right? And a lot of companies that have these payroll deposits will let you deposit into multiple accounts. In fact, I know one company that will allow you to automatically deposit your paycheck into as many as 5 different accounts into 5 different banks. It doesn't all be the same bank. So you could have the bulk of it going into your checking account to pay, your living expenses and your bills. You'd have some of it go into a savings account, and some into a Christmas club account, and some into your own retirement account, your IRA or what have you, IRA, whatever you have, Roth. Just think about it. If you have to, get with a financial planner to help you. It doesn't cost anything if to go and at least speak to a financial planner. They'll give you some great ideas. Hopefully, they're giving you the ideas with the hope that you will utilize them But you could take that information and customize it for yourself. It's easy to do. You can do it. This is the land of the free, the home of the brave. And that means, land of the free, that you have the ability to take your own finances into your own hands. Even with the, as much as you possibly can, even with the government trying to, take as much as they possibly can. They have this, they're talking about getting rid of the so-called death tax or estate tax. Now, it is amazing to me how the liberals have been writing the narrative on this for years. And if you say that you want to get rid of the death tax, all of a sudden it's a tax break for the rich. A tax break. Now, let me put this into perspective for you. You see, you're a rich person. I don't care, what income level you think rich is, but let's just say you're a rich person. And you have an estate. And now you have paid taxes faithfully, dutifully, legally, your entire working life. So you owe nothing. You owe no taxes, no back taxes, no penalties. Your account is straight and even with the IRS. So you paid your taxes like you were supposed to. You paid all the taxes that you were legally obligated to pay under the law. Fine. And this is the case for most wealthy people. They pay their lifetime what they legally are obligated to pay. Now so that means all that money that you got to keep, that the government so generously let you keep, because you earned it, but the government let you keep all that money, or some of it, and let's say you invested it. You put some in savings, you put some in bonds, you put some in gold, you put some in stocks, maybe you put some in real estate. So you have all of this, over your lifetime, you've garnered all of these assets. You've worked hard, you've earned the money, you've paid the taxes, and you've garnered all of these assets with after-tax dollars. Understand, this is after-tax dollars now. You garner all of these assets, not income. You garner all these assets with after-tax dollars. Now, 35, 40 years later, after working, for 40 years or what have you, 30 years, you pass away. Now, when you pass away, and as we all will, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at things, we'll all have to die. So when your time comes and you die, let's say you've scrimped and saved and properly invested, and you did it smartly. You were smart and responsible with your money, and maybe you weren't rich, whatever amount that may be to you, throughout your working life. But you scrimped and you saved and you invested wisely and properly and conservatively, and you took risks that were good for you, that you thought for sure would pay back, and they did. And let's say, you build a net worth. Now, you don't have this income, but you have all these assets that make your net worth, say, $10 million. Because, you bought a couple of income-producing properties. Maybe one of them's small commercial plaza. You have a couple of small apartment buildings. And you have some bonds and you have some stocks and your retirement account and everything. It all adds up to about $10 million. That's the value of it. That's not the cash that you get out of it every year. That's not what the estate is going to get in cash every year as income. But the value is, let's say, $10 million. Now, what the state and the federal government want to do after you die is say, hey, now that you've died, we're going to take those assets that you garnered and earned with your after-tax dollars, and we're going to tax that. We're going to tax the entire value. And by the time it's all said and done, by the time you get the bill for the state and the Fed, a lot of people realize, well, geez, that's a $5 million bill. Well, wait, your net worth is $10 million, and you got all that with after-tax dollars. Now the state is telling you, since you died, that you have to give the government $5 million of that $10 million value. The government says you have to give them $5 million cash for that $10 million value. Your heirs do not have $5 million. Your estate does not have $5 million in cash because it's only worth $10 million. So now they've got to go and sell off half of the assets that you worked so hard to get in order to pay this death tax. And the liberals, the Democrats, want to say that eliminating a portion of this tax is nothing more than a giveaway to the rich. How is that a giveaway? In other words, if you were able to live forever, you wouldn't have to pay an estate tax. So in other words, the liberals want to take advantage of your family's pain and suffering upon losing you and then extort them. Basically, that's what it is. It's extortion. I'm sorry, it is. I'm going to call a spade a spade. It's extortion. Simply because you died, the government wants half of what you earned legally and properly after taxes, and they're telling, well, no, we don't want the assets, we want the cash. Well, hey, Mr. Government official and the IRS, in order for us to give you the cash, we got to sell the assets. Now, don't you know that in some cases, if your heirs are not careful in how they sell those assets, they're going to owe taxes on what they sell, too. Oh, yeah, that is a fact. So not only are they going to have to pay the $5 million death tax, but selling $5 million in assets is going to trigger other taxes that they're going to have to pay on top of that. And you want to tell me that you're giving the rich a break? Hey, you weren't rich when you were working. Maybe you made, $50,000, $60,000 a year on average throughout your working career. You weren't rich, but yet and still, well, they get a $3 million, you get a $3 million, whatever it is, exemption. So what? The whole damn thing should be exempt. There should be no estate tax. There should be no death tax at any level. The government's already taxed that money. And they've probably taxed it, if you lived a long time, multiple times. It's already been taxed. And now you're telling the heirs who have to deal with this, your death, your passing, hey, here's, by the way, sorry that your matriarch or patriarch of the family died, but now here's your tax bill. And oh, by the way, if you sell the assets in order to pay this tax bill, you're going to have another tax bill. It's ludicrous. And I'm not talking the rapper either. I know some of you in Rush Limbaugh's Real Linda do not know what I just said. Ludacris is a name of a hip hop rap artist. I don't even know why they call them artists. I do not consider musicians, modern musicians. Well, I don't consider most musicians to be what we call artists. An artist. I don't think music, as we know it today, is really art. But that's just my own opinion. But that's what everybody calls them. They're artists. Any more than an actor is an art. I don't believe an actor is an artist either. Hell, I don't even think a lot of artists are actually artists. You remember the picture of the crucifix in a jar of piss? Really, is that art? I know art is in the eye of the beholder. Well, this beholder says with his eye that that's not art. But I digress. I know that's probably going to get me in trouble with some people, but too bad. I don't think that's art. So your heirs have got to come up with the cash to pay for what happens to everybody. You died. So let's put it in perspective. You work all your life. You didn't have a 6 or 7 figure income all your life, but you scrimped and you saved and you invested properly, and you ended up with a good size estate, large value. Maybe it's throwing off $1 million in cash every year. Maybe it's only throwing off $100,000 a year in cash for you. In any case, you're still paying dividends dividend taxes and other taxes on that income from those assets. So you're paying taxes. And so now you die. And now your heirs have to pay for your death. Not only do they got to pay for your funeral, but they have to pay the government for your death. And then the government says, well, you got to pay us in cash. And that cash is based on the entire value of the estate. Well, we don't care that the estate is only generating $100,000 in cash every year. No, it's worth 10 mil. So you got to give us half. At the various levels of government. Your total bill is going to be half. Well, okay, so now you have to sell some of those assets in order to pay that tax bill. And then they'll come back and tell you again, well, now that you sold some of those assets, well, that generated a certain amount of income or dividends for the estate. Well, now you got to pay taxes on that. But wait, we don't have a $10 million estate anymore. It's only $5 million. Well, just because you sold $5 million. So now you've got to pay taxes on that. So your heirs are hit with a triple whammy. Your death and double taxes. Do you follow what I'm saying here? And I know that there are ways to limit that, but it's a shame that you have to go through so much trouble and so much cost in order to try to set up an estate that allows you to give your money to the people who you want to give it to without the government taking it first. And that's sad. You've got to pay, hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars to set up all kinds of, accounts and to set up your will and your trust and all that kind of stuff in order to keep the government's hands off of what you've already paid taxes on from taking more. But yet a Democrat will tell you, oh, well, that's no big deal. But if you don't allow us to do that, if you don't allow us to rob you from the grave, because that's basically what the government is doing, robbing you from the grave. If you don't allow us to grave rob you, well, that's the same thing as giving a tax break to the rich. And that's how they frame their arguments all the time. It's based on class warfare. Because, the rest of us, we're supposed to be jealous and upset that you were fiscally responsible. And for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda, fiscal means financial. So you were financially responsible throughout your life. You made wise financial decisions. And now upon your death, you are going to be punished. And not only are you going to be punished, but so are your heirs. Now, of course, you're dead, so they can't throw you in jail. But they can seize the assets, your assets that you wanted your family to have, if they do not or cannot pay the tax bill. And look, this is what happens to a lot of family farmers. We were losing family farms left and right due to the death tax. Because, hey, all of a sudden the farmers' land, especially in the 80s and 90s when we had the roaring real estate markets and land values all over the place were shooting up, all of a sudden a farmer who, maybe his farmland at one point was worth $100,000, but all of a sudden with the real estate bubble, now that property's worth $1 million, and the farm family is finding, well, now that it's worth $1 million now, and they die, and the government comes in wringing their hands saying, you owe us. And the farmer's like, what are you talking? The farmer's surviving family is saying, what are you talking about? We don't have $500,000 to pay you. Well, it's not our fault. Well, the farmer's saying, well, it's not our fault either. We didn't say that our land was worth $1 million. You guys did. We've been paying taxes on it for all these years. And we've watched our tax bill go up and up and up and up and up and up. But we never said that the property was worth it. We weren't trying to ask for $1 million for this, but now you're saying it's worth $1 million, so now we got to give you we don't have $500,000. Guess you're going to have to sell the land. And that's why farmers were losing land left and right. That's why farm families who farmed the land for generations were finding themselves on the outs because of the death tax. And you know who saw it? Regular people like you and me at the time, we didn't see that coming. You know who saw it coming? Your legislatures on the state and federal level. Oh, yeah, they saw it coming. That's why they enacted certain laws that attached to that death. Because they saw a new source of income, a huge source of income. And now, you got Republicans who are rightfully so saying, let's get rid of this thing, this death tax. Let's stop punishing people for doing the right thing all their working life and being successful enough to end up with something that they can pass on to their posterity. Let's stop punishing them for that. And Democrats want to use class warfare instead of saying, well, let's find a common ground medium. All this, no, they're not interested in that. All they want to say is, well, this is just going to give the rich a tax break. But in reality is, the people that is going to hurt the most are the everyday middle class people who've worked all their lives so they have something to pass on to their children and their grandchildren. They're the ones being hurt by this, just like the family farmer. You know, they didn't make out like bandits when real estate property or real estate values went through the roof, because most of them, they kept farming the land. But then they end up having to sell it. And you would think, well, geez, they made a big penny off of selling it. But no, now they had to pay two tax bills. They had to pay the death tax bill for one. And then they had to pay all the income and dividend and all the other taxes that come along with selling the land. So by the time they paid all their tax bills, they pretty much had very little, if anything, left. They might have ended up with $200,000 to $250,000 out of that $1 million valuation. What are they supposed to do with that? Start over with that? How? Especially when the land around them and houses around them are costing more than $200,000 or $250,000. They're dead in the water. They're like a boat without a motor and a rudder. And who saw this coming? Well, obviously not the everyday folk like you and me. It was legislatures, and mostly it was liberal ones who saw it coming because they saw a huge payday for their government coffers so they could go out and spend like mad. And what you have to understand is the money that you earn does not belong to anybody but you. You earned it. You're trading your time, of which we all have a limited amount of. And I'm not talking about everybody's got 20. We hear the thing, everybody's got 24 hours in a day. Yeah. But that's, you know what? Right when it comes right down to it, that's BS, because it doesn't matter. But we all have a finite number of 24-hour days. I mean, some people have more than others, yes. But we've all got a finite number of days. So you are trading your time, something that you can never, ever get back. You cannot save it and tack it on to the end of your life. Okay, this year I saved a total of, out of 365 days this year, I saved a total of 24 hours. So that an extra day gets tacked on to the end of my life. No, that does not happen. You cannot save time. All you can do is every single second is spend it. And you have chosen to spend it wise enough so that you have something left over for you and for your family when you leave this planet. And the government wants to punish you and your family for that. No, that's all it is punishment. It's just an income grab. It's a money grab because the government thinks that all the money that is ever created actually belongs to them and not you. You're the one that traded your time for dollars because that's all it is. I don't care if it's $5 an hour, $15 an hour, $30 an hour, or $100 an hour. You're still trading your time that you cannot get back for money. So what the government is really saying is not all the money belongs to them, but you and your time belongs to them. Now, when you start thinking of it that way, because that's what taxes are, is you're trading your time to give your time to the government because the government says, oh, yeah, if you're in the 33% tax bracket, 33% of your time every day belongs to the government. Hey, folks, I'm telling you the truth. Don't doubt me on this. I'm not wrong.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Rod Eccles Show. I am your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere in the great state of New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Hampshire. Yeah, that's what it's called. Well, in England, it's called Hampshire. Here in the USA, it's called Hampshire. And, well, you know, we like to pronounce things a little bit differently. We really do. One of the things, and I do this a lot. I get off on a little tangent every now and then. And one of the things that I got off on a tangent on is really due to yesterday's tax day. And I didn't really intend to cover taxes, but there was an issue that came up that, that evolved around taxes, and that was with the Republicans trying to introduce legislation to, reform the death tax, and liberals taking, their same old playbook stand to keep money rolling in that they get to spend instead of leaving you with the money for you to spend it. But it just shows their hypocrisy because they talk about the rich all the time. And one of the things that we do know is that we have some wealthy people who are either currently in or going to get in the race for president. And you're going to hear a lot of people talk, a lot of these people, especially on the left side, talking about, they want to be the champion for, the middle class and the poor person, the average. And they want you to believe that they're just like you and me. You know what? It is highly possible that at one point that they were, but let me tell you something. When you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, or you make millions of dollars a year, or you have a net worth that's in the stratosphere of millions of dollars, you're not like the rest of us average people. And one of the stories that keeps coming out is look, I'm going to keep pounding Hillary Clinton. Because it's important. This woman says that she wants to be the champion of everyday people. She's not an everyday person. She hasn't lived the everyday life in decades. I mean, there was a report that says that she hasn't driven a car herself in 23 years. How often, unless you live in a major city, if you live in LA, you probably drive. But if you live in like New York City, or if you live in places like Boston, maybe Chicago, you probably do not drive very often because, one, it's very expensive in those places, in those cities, to own a car. And I'm not just talking about the cost of the car and the registration, the gas, and that type of thing. I'm talking about just to park the damn thing. I mean, in New York City, the value of a condo can go up by hundreds of thousands of dollars if it comes with a legit deeded covered parking spot. I mean, I've seen ads. If people sell parking spots like real estate in New York City. Oh, well, it is real estate, but they sell like a house. And some they can go as far. I've seen a single parking spot in New York City sell for $75,000. Now, it's just a parking spot for your car. And they were asking and selling it for $75,000. And now this is just an ad that I saw. Now, I have heard that they can go up to a parking spot can go up to $250,000. Now, how would you like to have a mortgage payment the size of your house just to park your car? Okay, so people in New York City, most people, they can't afford that kind of thing. And their public transportation is fairly decent, whether they use a subway or buses or taxis. So, those people, average people, they probably don't drive an awful lot. Granted, Mrs. Clinton didn't live in those types of places, and she's still getting driven around, even to this day. So how is it that this is a woman who like her husband says, I understand your pain. I know I haven't driven in a while, and I know my wife hasn't driven in like 23 years. I'm not even sure if she still has a license. Quite frankly, I don't know if she knows how to drive anymore. It's not like riding a bike, you can't. It's something that you got to keep practicing every once in a while. I don't know if she even has a license anymore. But she doesn't need it because she gets around. People drive her everywhere. Especially now that, she's a former first lady, a former senator, former secretary of state. She gets all that Secret Service protection. I ain't got to worry about her at all. She's always got herself a driver. Hey, guys, if you're one of those male chauvinists who don't like women drivers, here's what you do. I'm telling you, it works beautiful. You don't want to have to drive your wife around. You don't want to have to worry about her being a woman driver. You just get rich and hire her a driver, and she'll never drive again. And you just make sure that driver's a man. Well, just make sure he's not a good-looking man or he's an old man, like driving Miss Daisy. But she hasn't driven, I think that's what I heard, 23 years. So we're talking over 2 decades. That's not within the realm of possibility for the regular person. Well, unless you're, a strict Islamist, then, if you're a female, you can't drive. Hey, you know what? Hillary Clinton would fit in quite well in Saudi Arabia because she hasn't driven in 23 years, and they don't let their women drive anyway. So she would fit right in. Maybe that's why the Clinton Foundation has taken money from Middle Eastern countries. Because she fits right in. All she needs to do is to wear that headscarf, the hijab, however you pronounce it, the hijab, whatever. Look, it's a scarf. It's a head covering. Maybe if she wore that, we'd really know where her loyalties lie. But she does not know what it's like to be you or me. She has not been you or me in nearly longer than that because, Bill was, governor for quite a while. And, she's always lived outside of or above the rest of us for 30 years now. She doesn't know what it's like to live like the rest of us anymore. And if you ask a rich person honestly, hey, do you know what it's like to be your just like your workers? If they're honest, most of them will tell you, well, it's been a long time since I've only earned $30,000 a year or something like that. I don't know what they're going through. It's been a long time. I know we hear it all the time. Some rich people, they like to tell, well, yeah, I was once poor like you. I know what it's like. No, you don't know what it's like anymore. You know what it was like back then. But it's different today. You don't know what it's like. Now, I'm just being honest. I don't know what it's like to be dirt poor like that. Because it's different when I first started out versus today. It is for most people who are poor. Truly poor in this country. They probably have a harder time making ends meet than we did, years ago. Most definitely, it's a lot different, a lot harder today than it was when Clinton was, starting out in their lives. But here she's talking about being an ordinary person and being the champion for the ordinary person. Yet she doesn't treat people like ordinary people would treat other people. Here's a story. You've probably heard it already. Clinton goes into a Chipotle. No, she parks the Scooby van. No, that's not a normal vehicle anyway. She's not driving it. At least I don't. If she did get behind the wheel and actually pulled out in the traffic, you would see pictures. The lamestream media would be all over it. They'd be telling, yeah, see, Mrs. Clinton's just like us, man. She can drive herself. But they haven't. There are no pictures like that because she hasn't done that because she thinks she's too good, really, to drive. And look, and I understand certain security issues. But hey, you know, I mean, I've heard stories about, Ronald Reagan. It was when he left office. He rode horses, and I heard him and Nancy drove their own cars. Now, I didn't see any pictures of it, so I can't, confirm that, but that's what I heard. George Herbert Walker Bush, he liked to go out in his boat. He rode, he drove his, I guess it's called driving a boat, drove his own boat. He drove his own boat while he was president. What was the last thing that Hillary Clinton actually piloted or drove? I guess you call driving a boat piloting, right? Yeah. When was the last time that you saw her or heard about her piloting or driving anything? Well, the rest of us we don't know what it's like to not have to do that. If we have a boat, we have to pilot the boat, captain the boat. If we have an airplane, we have to pilot that aircraft. If we have a car, we have to be the driver. Hell, half the time, especially if you have kids, you're the chauffeur. But she goes into Chipotle after being driven there. She parks in a handicapped spot. Now, if you or I get parked, I know I think the first time you get ticketed for parking in a handicapped spot is at least $50, and then you add on all the court fees and surcharges and stuff like that. It could cost you $100 to park in the wrong spot. Now, I know in some I've heard people getting a ticket for $250 for parking in a handicapped spot. But here she pulls up. Well, she doesn't. Her driver pulls up into a handicapped spot. She jumps out, goes in with a friend of hers, one of her campaign people, into Chipotle. Think, oh yeah, we're going to do something that average, regular, everyday people do, and people are going to take, the press is right behind us. They're going to take pictures of this, and so I can prove that I'm a everyday champion. I'm just like everybody else. I know what it's like because I know what it's like to be, the average person because I went into a Chipotle. I mean, it's about as bad as, Barack Obama thinking that he's normal because he goes into a McDonald's or a fast food burger joint. I mean, hey, I'm sure everyday people, I'm sure you and I, we regularly have a bunch of security people running around making sure that the fast food joint is safe. From rum squabs and thieves and criminals and other people of ill repute. So yeah, we have that regularly. But she goes. It's supposed to be just a spur of the moment thing. She's driving down the street and she says, "Hey, look at that right there. That's a Chipotle. Pull over. Let's go into Chipotle." So you pull into Chipotle, you go in and you order $20 worth of stuff, and I guess it's $20 and change is what the bill came to, and they paid $21. There's a tip jar. Now, I don't know, how many times have you heard stories, and there's stories all the time about somebody going into a restaurant of all kinds, it's a nice family-style restaurant to a diner, and they leave a ridiculous tip. I mean, the bill might come to $20 and they leave a $100 bill and say the rest is a tip. That's yours. Or the bill is like $100. They go in a nicer restaurant and the bill's $100 and they put a $100 tip or a $500 tip on their credit card. And those are regular people. Or you get somebody you like, I just hit the lottery. I won $1,000 or something on a scratch ticket. You know what? I'm going to pay it forward and share a little bit because, waitress, because you look like you could use some help. So here's a $500 tip. We hear stories about regular people doing that all the time. She couldn't even leave a tip in the jar marked tip jar. And I can tell you that the people in Chipotle are not making $15 to $20 an hour. So a good portion of their income comes from what? Tips. Now, whenever I see a tip jar, I do try to leave a tip. I know people say, well, why would you leave a tip? But I know you have to be careful because there are some places that don't accept tips. Dunkin' Donuts around here, they're like gas stations. They're all over the place. Some Dunkin' Donuts allow you to tip their employees and some don't. They have a tip jar. I'll throw in, my bill is, at Dunkin' Donuts is never more than $5. Because, I'll get coffee and maybe I'll get a pastry or one of their sandwiches or something, and it's usually around $4 to $5. I'll put the change and another dollar bill in the tip jar if there's a tip jar. No, I don't know. $1 off on a $5 bill is pretty good. Especially all they did was, it's fast food. They're not serving me or anything. They're just giving it to me. She couldn't even do that. She could not even do that. But she's supposed to be out there representing you and me, regular people, being the champion for everyday regular people. She can't even support you, yet she's expecting you to support her. You see, you understand where I'm going with this, right? You understand what do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? You get 5 points if you know what movie that line came out of or came from. Again, I don't think Hillary Clinton would know, but regular everyday people like you and I would know what line that movie came from. We didn't even know the two actors who spoke that line. She probably doesn't, because she's not an everyday person like you or me. And she hasn't been for at least 20 to 30 years. She has no clue. And she's so clueless and so careless and so selfish and so self-centered that I don't know how you could possibly not notice a jar on the counter next to the cash register where you have to pay for your food that says tip jar on it. Oh, what'd she do? Did she turn to her friend and say, what does that mean? Here, I'll give you a tip. Vote for Hillary. That's a good tip. Vote for Hillary. And then she probably walked out of the, she did walk out because the manager says, yeah, she didn't leave a tip. They paid their slightly over $20 bill with $21 and they left. I'm sure as Hillary was getting in that car, there was that cackling laugh that came back. Probably thinking I fooled all of them. I went to Chipotle. I got some regular, everyday, common food. Now I'm going to chow down. She probably didn't even eat it. She probably turned to her Social Security, her Secret Service detail, and said, "Here, you eat it." Now my question is, well, you know how you know if she actually ate it? Because in about an hour later or 2 hours later, she's probably sitting in the bathroom for a while. Because look, I'm sure that her system is not used to such food. No, I don't know. Maybe Chipotle made something special for her. Maybe they had a filet mignon. Yes, I have that filet mignon burrito, please. I'm sure. Look, if it was on the menu, I am sure she would have ordered it, and probably would have. The burrito was probably $20 for that, if that's the case. But look, I am sure. She didn't even. She parked in the handicap spot, so she didn't even pay the parking meter. Think about that for a second. She had her driver pull into a spot. And probably because it was, the closest to the door of Chipotle. Half the time when you're driving around places, the handicap parking spots are empty. That's just an observable fact for me. They seem to always be empty, and you can't park there because you'll get a ticket or towed. And so she pulled in there because it was probably close to the door, so she wouldn't have to walk very far. Unlike the rest of us regular people, sometimes we have to walk a block or two in order to go to the place that we want to get to because there's no parking spots nearby. Yeah, but that's what everyday people do. That's what regular folk do. They walk. And sometimes they walk a great distance. But not Hillary. Oh, no, she couldn't walk. So they pulled into a handicap spot. Now, so maybe, I don't know, old grandma who's on a cane, who walks with a cane, or a walker, didn't have a place to park because Hillary's Scooby van was there. So she walks in with a friend, and again, not doing something that us regular people do. We have to fumble for change, or we have to, because a lot of places are now replacing coin-operated things with card-activated ones. You can use your debit card or credit card. So we're either fumbling for some change, trying to find some change to put in the parking meter so we don't get a ticket, or we have to walk over to one of those machines that'll accept our debit or credit card, so we can take that little slip of paper that is printed out that says that, we have this much time to park, and we have to go back to our car. I mean, think about this now. Yes, they do try to place these machines every so often, so you're not walking too far, but think about this. Us regular people, we have to find a regular parking spot. We have to pull into that regular parking spot. Then we have to either find the change in our pockets or in the car somewhere, and we have to go to the meter, and we have to feed the meter. Or worse, if we don't have, coin-operated machines in our town anymore, we have to find one of those machines that will accept our debit or credit card. And then we got to wait there for it, to clear our bank and get printed out these little pieces of paper that say, okay, you have like 10, 15, or half hour of parking. And then we have to walk back to our car and stick it in the window. And then we get to walk to our destination. So then we get to walk to Chipotle. And then we get to go in. And then when we order and we pay, we see the tip jar. Most of us regular people will leave a real tip. She didn't do any of that. I don't know. Is that a regular person to you? That's not a regular person to me. Look, this woman doesn't know anything. All she wants, she's faker than fake. I mean, Hillary Clinton is so fake that even fake people say, man, you fake. Think about it. This woman is so fake. She's so phony. She's such a liar. That even world-renowned con artists look at Hillary Clinton and say, damn, if I was good as you, all I need to do is pull off one scam and I'd never have to work another scam the rest of my life. Because this woman has pulled off scam after scam on us. Oh yeah, she almost pulled off the ultimate scam of becoming, president the first time around in 2008, 2009. But Barack Obama was a bigger scammer than her. But she scammed the American people, when her husband was in office. As first lady. Oh, she's such a great first lady. So she scammed the American people into believing that she was so wonderful and so talented and so smart and so competent that she chose a state to go to instead of going back to her home state of Arkansas. No, she chose another state and said, you know what? I want to be your senator. And she conned the state of New York into electing her senator. And then I don't know what happened. Somehow she was able to con, for whatever reason, and maybe they conned each other, which was probably the case, Barack Obama into making her Secretary of State. And then she decided, well, now what I really want to do is be president. And so now Barack can't run anymore. So I'm going to try to scam the people one more time. It's the ultimate scam. And she's probably thinking, well, hell, if Barack can do it, I can do it. Why not? I'm smarter than he is. And I'm a minority. I'm a woman. And, she's trying to elevate womanhood as being a greater minority than being black, half African. And then she's trying to put this scam on us. Oh, now she's trying to say that she's just a regular person, or she's the champion of the regular person, when her previous campaign 8 years ago, she wasn't trying to be the champion for the regular person. So now she's trying to scam us one more time. But now the cameras are on her big time, and we see every little thing she does. And every little thing she does tells us that this is nothing but another scam.
Daenerys Targaryen. She says she is the mother of dragons. But would you trust her with your kids? Her father was a maniac. She palled around with Dothraki terrorists. She asked the city of Karth for a government bailout. Then she lost 3 baby dragons after placing them in an unlocked wooden box. An unlocked wooden box. This Khaleesi wants to be queen of the 7 kingdoms, but can she be trusted? Daenerys Targaryen. Wrong for dragons. Wrong for the realm. Paid for by the Committee to Protect Dragons.
We don't know anything about him.
He was never really vetted.
Is he really the true-born son of Robert Baratheon?
All over the 7 kingdoms, people are asking the same question. Who is the real King Joffrey? The people of Westeros are hurting. Winter is coming. Crop yields are falling, and the price of fuel is going up.
The cost of peat moss is through the thatched roof.
And this young and inexperienced king takes advice from a whoremongering imp and has launched an illegal war in the north. What is King Joffrey hiding? This is not our kind of family values. King Joffrey. What a bastard.
What a bastard.
Paid for by the young Baratheons for freedom. Robb Stark. He's the biggest celebrity in the North. But his father was a traitor. He arrested his own mother. His bastard brother deserted the Night's Watch. And he couldn't defend his own castle. Worst of all, Robb Stark hasn't stopped the wildlings from invading our lands and taking our jobs. He even has an illegal alien for a nanny. And now he wants to be king in the North? King? Some people say he's really a wolf. Some people say he eats dead people. We can't wait until it's too late. Send a raven to Winterfell now and tell Robb Stark to go back home. Stop eating dead people and defend the damn wall. This ad paid for by Crossbows GPS.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
When you can't find anything to watch on cable, you get bored. When you get bored, you listen to radio cooking shows. When you listen to radio cooking shows, you invite a friend over for dinner. When you invite a friend over for dinner, you use twice as many beans. When you use twice as many beans, you expel deadly farts that kill your friend's dog. When you kill your friend's dog, your friend becomes unstable. When your friend becomes unstable, you're sued for everything you're worth. When you're sued for everything you're worth, you're thrown to the streets. When you're thrown to the streets, you devote your life to world domination. When you devote your life to world domination, you become an evil fascist overlord. When you become an evil fascist overlord, old friends plot their revenge. When old friends plot their revenge, you are shot in the back of the head. And when you're shot in the back of the head, you miss your jazzercise appointment. Don't miss your jazzercise appointment. Upgrade to Indirect TV. Go online or call 1-800-DIRECT-TV.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven ultra-lipo-stick. Carbohydrates are bad, bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good, good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on ultra-lipo-stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using ultra-lipo-stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra-lipo-stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used ultra-lipo-stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra-lipo-stick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra-lipo-stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
You know, you gotta wonder how people can continually fall for the same scam over and over and over again. And you know what? Obviously scams work because we all know about the scam for the Nigerian scam, whatever it is. You know, you give us, your account information and we'll put money in there, and then the email scam that was going around for years, and it's still going on. I still get one of those scam notices every once in a while, and the only reason for those scams to still be active is if they're still working. So, but I'm telling you to look out for this scam from this woman from the Democrat Party. Trust me, folks, it's nothing more than a scam. Hello, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great Granite State of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still, live free or die. It is not big government or bust, although we do have a Democratic governor who wants to try to change that. But it is Thursday, April the 16th in the year of our Lord 2015, as we enter hour number 2 here on the program. And we're glad that you are listening in. Yes, Hillary Clinton, one of the greatest scam artists ever in politics. And I got to say, it's not just Hillary. We got scammed by Barack Obama, too. Really. We got scammed. Even though there were plenty of us out there, telling you that it was a scam, telling you what he was really about, telling you what he was going to do, telling you all about him. And yet he was still able to pull off the greatest scam in the world twice. And now we have another person who's trying to pull off the same scam. Although, because we know really who she is because of her time being Secretary of State. Now, see, if she were smart, she just would have stayed senator of the state of New York. Then we wouldn't have all this additional ammo. Not that we needed additional ammo, but this stuff is just from her time as Secretary of State. I mean, that's not a smoking gun. That's a nuclear bomb right there. But she's still trying to scam us, and some people are still falling for it, which is amazing. That's why I call her the greatest scam artist that has probably ever lived. Because for her to actually get people behind her and to try to convince you that she's leading in the polls and that she's going to be able to defeat any Republican candidate. We don't care who the Republican candidate is or how good he is. She is going to beat any Republican candidate. I mean, to have people do that for, you got to be one of the greatest scam artists, if not the greatest scam artist that humankind has ever seen. I mean, she doesn't have to fire a single shot. I can't say there's no blood being lost because people have died around her. People that have either known her or come into contact with her, had anything to do with her, they have died. That's indisputable. But she hasn't, gone to war in order to perpetrate this scam. But she's scammed millions of people into believing in her. And I'm a little bit amazed by it, frankly. I mean, it's if I were a scam artist out there, she would be my hero because she's got the greatest scam going. The scary part is that she might be able to actually pull it off, but not if I have anything to say about it. I'll be out there, shouting from the mountaintop, scam number 2, scam artist number 2. We had one scam artist. Do you want another one? Scam number 2 coming up. Okay, so, hey, there you go. Hillary Clinton, scam artist. Scam. But yeah, I mean, she can tell you that she's a champion for the ordinary people, but she can't even leave you a tip. Now, I wonder how many people in that Chipotle are still going to vote for her. I wonder how many of those employees in there are college students, and they're working in their part-time to try to help defray some of their college cost. I wonder how many of them are still going to support her and fall for, hey, she didn't tip us, but she came in. Oh, wasn't that wonderful? She's not helping to pay for our college or anything, or helping to pay for our bills, or pay for the, that single mother who's working in there. She's not helping to pay for my little Johnny, but she's still wonderful. She understands us. So I'm just wondering how many of them are have fallen to the scam. Speaking of scam, and I said Obama is a scam artist. Speaking of scam, unemployment rate for college graduates rose, not dropped. I thought the economy was getting better. Isn't that what they kept telling us? The economy's better. It rose to 12.4% in 2014, despite Obama's promise to reverse trend. Yeah, this is a Daily Mail. Now understand that Daily Mail is actually a British-based news organization. And yeah, they have a U.S. Contingent, but mostly they're based in England, Britain, and they're the ones that are reporting this. And I tried to find this type of information on the lamestream media sites, and this is a big headline on Daily Mail, but it's kind of like a footnote, if you can find it on some of the other lamestream media's outlets. Unemployment rate for college graduates rose to 12.4% in 2014, despite Obama's promise to reverse the trend. So, yeah, a little Barbara Walters there, twinned. But she goes into this Chipotle, Mrs. Clinton, Mrs. William Jefferson Clinton, the former Secretary of State, former Senator, New York State Senator, former First Lady, goes into Chipotle where there's probably some college students or recent college grads working there. The Labor Department reported on earlier today that the numbers of jobless grads rose to 12.4% last year from 10.9% in 2013. So you do realize that's almost a 2-point jump. It's not a slight rise. A slight rise would be, 10.9% to maybe 11.1, maybe 11.5. That would be a slight rise. We're talking a jump to 12.4. Now, Philip Gardner, director of Michigan State University's Collegiate Employment Research Institute, says engineering and business majors have the most chance of landing a job in today's competitive market, but these people are still out there, and these college students are still out there trying to get these bachelor's and master's degrees in underwater ancient European art. So, no, I know there's some people... I probably shouldn't have said it, but I know there's some people in Rush Limbaugh's Real Linda that think that that's a real degree. No, I'm being facetious about that. But look, a degree in international women's studies is a real degree, by the way, in some colleges in this land. And that's why I say what I say when I say the underwater European ancient art degree, because it's a... the woman's international women's studies degree has about as much worth as the fake degree I just said. Now, despite the recent news in a survey of employers last fall, the Employment Center found that hiring of graduates will rise 16% this year. Well, what does that mean? 16%? So what's that going to bring the unemployment rate for those college grads to? I don't know. Maybe part of the reason that unemployment for recent grads is so high is because so many of them have these stupid, fake, meaningless, worthless degrees. And maybe some of these kids are actually paying attention and saying, well, you know what? I need a real degree. I'm going to actually have to study a real discipline in order to get a real job. So maybe, we're going to see more engineers graduating. So with a real engineering degree, so they'll be more marketable. So employers will want them because, I don't know an employee that's going to want all that other kind of fake graduate crap. Employers have complained about this. Hey, these graduates, they don't know anything. They spend all this time and all this money and they think they know something and they know jack. So, but... So you have these these mines full of mush that get scammed into spending all this money for these fake degrees. Now I don't know why they just don't colleges don't offer the good old fashioned real degrees that have real world applications. I mean, well, I do know because they're indoctrinating these kids is what they're doing. And it is easier to indoctrinate on something that they cannot compare it to. So if you have a degree in underwater ancient European art, well, what are you going to compare that to? There's nothing out there. But if you have a particular engineering degree or a particular business degree, well, there's something that they can compare it to. Yeah, and I'm meaning real life attributes, real life comparisons. So a business major, well, there are certain disciplines in business, so people can compare. Well, this person, made this kind of money because he had a degree in this type of business major, and they have to comply and believe in such a manner that business will accept them. But if there's nobody out there hiring for underwater ancient European art, then they can teach whatever they want and indoctrinate a college student into believing whatever that professor or group of professors want that student to believe. Plain and simple. It's not difficult to understand why they would do such a thing. It's not difficult at all. But it's a scam. It is a scam. It's a huge scam. It's a big education scam. Plain and simple. But the article goes on to say, indeed, the consulting and accounting firm EY, I don't know who EY is, plans to hire 9,000 graduates from U.S. universities this year, up from 7,500 in 2014. That might be due mainly to a bunch of people retiring as well. But again, is that going to make up for 2 points? Is that 16% increase going to make up for 2 points that were lost? Now, I know some of you are saying, well, it's 16%, right? That means that there'll be no unemployment for them, right? No, that's you don't understand how this math works then. In other words, it's only a rise of 16% over the amount of people that are currently hired this year, or that were currently hired, or that were hired last year. So in other words, a 16% rise is basically going from 7,500 to 9,000. That's the rise. Is that going to impact that 2 points? Are we going to get back down to 10.9% off of that 16% rise? No. No, that's not enough there. That's like, saying that people, the unemployment rate in Rio Linda, Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda is only, is under 6%, when we still know that it's in double digits, over 10%, because we're looking at the U6 numbers and we're counting all the people who could get a job or who are employable but can't find one, so they stop looking for a while. We can also look at the numbers and the rise in the number of people who are getting government assistance in one form or another that before did not qualify because they were what? Actually contributing and working and earning a living. Now, I know that some of that is due to the government raising the base level of what it takes to get government assistance, but at the same time, there's more people out there who qualify simply because they don't have a job, because the unemployment rate is still over 10%. So we have all these graduates that can't get a job because many of them, a good bulk of that 12.4%, have these so-called fake degrees that nobody understands or needs. I'm talking business. Now, I often say, well, if you can't find a job, create one. But it might be a little bit difficult to find clients and customers who need your expertise in underwater ancient European art. Or, if you want to talk about a real discipline, if you want to call it a discipline, international women's studies. You got a master's degree in international women's studies. Great. What does that allow you to do? How can you market that kind of a degree? Who needs that type of a degree? Well, maybe the United Nations, the UN might hire you, but, hey, there's only so many of those jobs available. And we're not talking hundreds. You're probably lucky if there's single-digit openings in that type of, with that the need for that type of degree on an annual basis. Well, speaking of jobs, though, we have another story here. And this is, again, the great scam artist from Barack Obama and his co-scammers that believe in so-called man-made global warming or global climate change. And this is from the Washington Times, and the headline is Obama's climate change rules could kill nearly 300,000 jobs. Does a report. 300,000 jobs could be lost to climate change rules. Now, basically, it starts off that the fate of President Obama's climate change plans now rests with 3 judges who heard oral arguments earlier today in a case that will decide whether the Environmental Protection Agency can move ahead with historic limits on power plant emissions. The monumental case came before a federal appeals court on the same day. New data was released showing the EPA regulations could lead directly to the loss of nearly 300,000 jobs. So if Obama gets his scammable regulations, his scamming regulations, we could see 300,000 jobs evaporate. Now, understand, they're talking about industry jobs, which will then have a direct and indirect effect on other industries that revolve around or depend upon the energy producing, like coal plants industry. And you know, here, look, with the falling, let me give you an example. We have falling oil prices. And of course, that is kind of being led by Saudi Arabia and OPEC, trying to force the price of, a barrel of crude oil down. And what is happening with the value of crude oil dropping, sure, we're getting low gas prices, and that's good for us to a point. But what we're realizing is that it's also devaluing and lowering the potential and profitability to recoup costs of drilling and getting the oil that we've been getting here in this country. So we've already seen, and I'm surprised we haven't heard that. Well, we haven't heard it. I know why we haven't heard it. We haven't heard it because if the American people actually knew this statistic, they would be, flabbergasted by it. But we've lost, since this decline in the value of crude has started, we've lost 100,000 jobs in the oil industry in this country. And as long as the price stays below a certain benchmark, and I think that benchmark is $70 a barrel. Today it was around $55 a barrel. We're going to continue to lose more jobs. Now, you have to understand that the states that are heavily dependent on this stuff now, because it was a booming industry, like the Dakotas and Montana, and even parts of Texas and other oil refining industries in states and areas are going to be affected by this. Now, just think if you lost 20,000 jobs in South Dakota, how is that going to affect the overall economy of that state? Well, it's going to be pretty devastating. Because that's, 20,000 jobs, it's income. One, the state isn't getting any taxes from. In fact, in some cases, well, they're paying out because they're going to be paying, like unemployment insurance claims, and they're going to be paying, there's going to be payouts for government assistance like food stamps and things like that. And not to mention, housing is going to be devalued because, hey, people aren't around that can afford to buy or rent, right? So a lot of people are going to lose more than this 100,000 if this continues. Now, it's mixed feelings, obviously, because we all like gas prices at being down at $2 to $2.25 a gallon instead of at $3 a gallon. But we have to understand that there's a cause and effect. Well, hello. If there's a cause and effect for having, lower gas prices, we're to the tune of 100,000 jobs and counting, how is it that it's not going to be the reverse or the same type of effect by increasing business cost? So if the oil industry needs let's just use I think it's $70 a barrel. If they need $70 a barrel in order to keep the current boom, if you will, going and people employed, because that is the cost of doing business and breaking even, is at $70 a barrel. Well, what happens when you start raising minimum wage on people? Well, now the cost of breaking even for that business goes up as well. Well, if you don't have people that can afford that new break-even cost, what's going to happen to the business? Well, they're going to lose business. Well, what's going to happen to the employees? They're going to have to let employees go. Hello? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. But you would think that these people have scammed the American people so bad and for so long that it's difficult for some people to fully understand the facts that are before them. It is so hard. Look, they've been scammed. These kids have been scammed to get these fake degrees that when they get out of college, they expect to have these six-figure jobs. But hey, the degree is worthless. You're told that we can't drill our way to prosperity and success and independence, but we did. But when we did that, our so-called friends drive down the price below what it takes for us to break even so we can keep all these people employed and keep growing the economy and keep people paying into the system. No, this starts to reverse. And then we got these idiots out there who are talking about, well, we need to raise the minimum wage. Well, raising the cost of the baseline, the break even of businesses. And we're expecting nothing to change because that's what we're told. Man, that is a major, beautiful scam.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
No one knows who are you. No one seems to hear your cries, and you stop this race against the world. But you know the only way is to tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Absolutely. We are back in this final segment here on the Rod Eccles Show. Thank you again for joining. Hey, folks, listen. This program, you've heard at the bottom of each of the half hours that you heard 3 different ads. They were new to you. If you've been listening to the show regularly, they were new. Those are real sponsors. And as I have been telling you, that the show is growing. So we actually have now real sponsors who've given us spots to play. So obviously, if I did not think that they were reputable, I would not allow them to be a sponsor of this program. So you can pay attention to them, and if your life situation has a need for one of those 3 new sponsors, please understand and know that they are real. And they're not like the fake ads that we've been paying and the funny stuff and the parody stuff that we've been playing. But those are real, as well as, obviously, the Wounded Warrior Project. I really believe in the Wounded Warrior Project. And you need to pay attention to that kind of stuff. And go to the woundedwarrior.org page and check it out. That's also very, very real. So we have those 3 new sponsors that are very real. And more will be coming. We're working on others, and we'll be hopefully inking some deals with them soon. And again, I'm not going to bring you anything that I do not personally believe in. You can always trust me on that. It's great to be able to have some income to help offset the cost of doing this program for you. But at the same time, I'm not going to bring you something that I don't believe in. Which is also why stuff that is on my webpage, rodeccles.net, you can also trust that stuff too, because I'm not going to, again, bring you stuff that I don't personally believe in or I haven't checked out. So, it isn't going to be, I'm not going to scam you, unlike some of our political operatives today. And I'm not going to berate you on stuff. I hate that when people look. I'm not gonna mention any names or any programs, but we all know that there's stuff out there on the and I'm going to say mainstream in the mainstream shows and programs that sometimes you actually question whether or not the person or people that are responsible for that particular program actually believe in the products and sponsors of some of those sponsors of their programs. And I'm telling you that I am not going to allow anything that I do not believe in to be a sponsor of this program. Now, on the other hand, understand that those are the bottom of the hour. The top of the hour, you're still hearing the parody ads most of the time. Although if you're hearing this on a different network instead of my own network here on Spreaker, then it is going to be that network's responsibility to check out those sponsors, because they're the ones sponsoring that network. So that network can pay their bills. And I have no problem with that. But I would hope that they also would only put forth sponsors and endorse products and services that they believed in. And hopefully they're just not in it. No. As the program grows and we get more and more networks, I mean, if you look at some of the top, Hannity's on almost nearly 600 stations. Rush is on well over 700 stations, and they can't monitor, what all of those individual stations do, and they're not really responsible for them. So, as I am not responsible for the stations that air this program, but also know that all of the stations and networks that are currently airing this program in syndication, I have, me and my agents have talked to them. We know what they stand for. Excuse me. So you can understand and trust them. And that is something that we will continue to try to do, going forward. That we're not going to willingly allow this program to be put someplace that is going to be disparaging to its listeners or the Constitution of this great land. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that. And I will vigorously defend the copyright of this program so that you can feel protected, in understanding that we're not going to put anything or bring you anything that is fake, phony, false. Now, again, I'm just going to say that you personally need to check out everything yourself because, hey, we all can be scammed, and we all have been scammed at one time or another in our life if we've spent enough, if we've had enough life to live. If you're 18 years old, even if you're 18 years old, you were probably scammed in high school by somebody. So you understand what that's like. And you understand that we're continually being scammed today. I mean, there's scams all over the place. So you have to do your own due diligence, but just understand that there's another layer there from me personally. And if I find out that there's something wrong in any of the sponsorships or networks, I will let you know, and I will do my best to remove them from this program. And that's my guarantee. Look, I don't have to say it. I'm an honest. Anybody who does business with me knows that I'm an honest guy. And I try to, even if I make a bad deal, I still honor that deal. That's, a lot of people say that that's rare today. And I'm like, no, that should not be rare. That's the way business used to be done. And it used to be done with a handshake. And your handshake meant your word, and your word was as good as a signed contract. That's the way I do business. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get contracts, but I expect that when I make a deal with somebody and I shake their hand and they approve that, and if it's virtually, then, I approve the deal and they approve the deal. That's the equivalent to me of shaking a hand, that their word and my word is as good as a contract. In that even if it proves to be negative to me, I will fulfill my word to the fullest and best of my ability. Period. So understand that straight. Because there's a lot of new listeners out there, and they really don't know who I am. I know that there's listeners who've been tracking me and who've been with me since since the very beginning back in 2009. But with the growth of this show, and it's been absolutely fantastic and tremendous, I am so thrilled with it. It's unbelievable. I never expected this, but understand that there are a lot of new listeners to this program and to me. There are a lot of people out there now who are starting to see what and hear what I write and say, but they don't have the benefit of having been with me for so long or working with me for so long. So this is really a message for them, because those of you that have been listening for a long time, and those of you that have read what I have written, you fully understand who I am and what I'm about, and you understand the trust that I've built up, and I'm not going to risk that damaging that trust with you, period. Especially for a couple of bucks. Now, give me a break. It's just not worth it. The damage, my reputation is important. It is very important to me. Unlike our politicos, who obviously seem to, they seem to be able to think that they can mold their reputation in any fashion that they want. I mean, a perfect example is Hillary Clinton. Now, I don't know anybody who's a normal, regular, everyday person like you and me who would lie about their personal family history. I'm not going to lie about mine. And let me tell you exactly what my history is. In case you have not read the bio, and even my bio doesn't tell you everything. But let me give you an insight. I mean, my name is Rodney Eccles. Rod is short for Rodney. My mother was born in Arkansas, my father in North Carolina. They moved to Buffalo, New York, when they were children. And they grew up and they went to separate, different basketball rivalry high schools. My mother was a cheerleader for her high school, and my father was a star standout basketball player for his high school. Now, I really never, ever really got the full story of how they actually met and fell in love. I mean, my parents, they told me bits and pieces here and there, but I've never actually just really sat down with them and said, okay, you two tell me. In fact, maybe the next time I'm with my parents, I'm going to ask them, tell me the full story about how you two met and fell in love. I've just got bits and pieces of it over the years. But they did. They fell in love. They were high school sweethearts. They got married. My dad actually started to go to college for art. He wanted to be an art teacher. But, his family was not wealthy. His dad was a hard worker. And in fact, if I remember, he worked in a sugar processing plant. They process sugar. His entire working career in Buffalo. He retired from that plant. My dad didn't, the family didn't have a lot of money. And so when he ran out of money, he joined the military, the Air Force, where he made a career out of it, 21 years. He gave his life to this country in the military. I grew up a military Air Force brat. I've been to, different foreign countries around the Mediterranean. My dad has been to Asia. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go. But he's been there, and he brought back stuff. We benefited from his service, from being over there as a family. And I was able to grow up with a man that worked his butt off. Me and my sibling did not want for anything. Yes, I often tout about the stuff that I didn't get for Christmas. Like, I remember there was one time that I wanted this, the Power Wheels. Well, this was a precursor to the Power Wheels, and it was a battery powered a sports car, and it wasn't really wasn't really taking off from it wasn't a Maserati, that type of thing, because this was before they started doing that. Now, however, when I was very young, I did have a pedal powered car. That was a Mercedes, by the way. But I wanted a battery. I never got that battery powered car because it was expensive back then. I mean, very expensive. If you were to make those dollars of then and compare it and put it into today's dollars, it was more expensive than today's Power Wheels. It was that expensive. So I never got it. But I never wanted for anything. I grew up in a household. My parents are still married to each other. So I didn't personally know divorce until I got a little bit older. And after 15 years of being together, my wife and I, not my choice, we got a divorce. So yes, I'm a divorcee. Now, it doesn't mean that I believe in divorce or that I'm willing to throw things away, because I'm not. I fought for my marriage. It just didn't work out. So I have learned. Yes, I've started many a business. Some of them have failed. Some of them were successful. Right, so I know what failure is like. Yeah, I've been fired from jobs too, for a number of different reasons. Look, there was a job that I was the top salesperson in that office, top 10 in the country's district of the East Coast, and I still got fired. Look, so I know what it's like to not be able to try your hardest and fail at the job and not be able to do it successfully and get fired. And I also know what it's like to get fired even when you're on top of the game. But I don't hide from any of that. And as far as my heritage is concerned, from what I know, and I have tried to investigate, and you can probably understand, because of my heritage, it's a little difficult to go back too far to find the facts. But I am African American, and I do believe, and I have not done the DNA test, but I know that there's DNA tests out there that can pinpoint exactly what part of Africa I'm from, but I do believe it's from around Nigeria. But I'm also Cherokee and Osage, and I can prove both. Unlike some people who run around saying, yeah, I was Cherokee, I'm Cherokee. No, I don't just have stories. I have proof that I'm Cherokee and Osage. And I'm also part French. To be specific, what we know to be Creole. Which, from what I understand so far from my family investigation, that's how I get my last name. It is French. So I'm not going to tell. I don't. But I look. My mother says that there's some Irish in us in there, and I think, and I have not been able to confirm, but I also believe that looking at some of the documents, I have not able to confirm yet. But there's some Spanish from Spain in there. That's a possibility. But I can confirm the other stuff, the other ethnicities. The ones that I'm working on to confirm or disprove are the Irish and the Spanish. Possibility. But I'm not going to run around and tell you, look, there's slavery in my family history, in my family tree. There were people that were slaves. There were people that came over here willingly, fur trappers, that type of thing. They were also part of my heritage. They were here long before the white man showed up on the shores of North America. Cherokee, Osage. But I'm not going to lie about who my parents are, who my grandparents are, who my great-grandparents are. You got Hillary Clinton out there talking about her grandparents were immigrants, and we know for a fact, based on documentation, that even places like Ancestry.com has come out and said, no, these are Hillary Clinton's grandparents. They were not immigrants. So she lied about her heritage, just like Elizabeth Warren. I don't do that. She's lying. Her marriage is a sham. When was the last time? Where is Bill Clinton right now? Where is Bill Clinton? He's nowhere to be found. No. Maybe he's back on Orgy Island for all we know, or he's on a substitute Orgy Island that we don't know about yet. But these people are lying about who they are just so they think that they can be more relatable. Now look, if she has to lie about who she is, doesn't that prove to you that she cannot and does not relate to the average everyday person in this country? I mean, I love these leftists and these elitists that try to pad their history because they think that by doing so that they can be more relatable to you. All they're doing is lying and scamming you. I have no such agenda. None, zero, zip, nada, no reason to. If you don't like me for who I am, then, the hell with you. I don't care. Too bad for you. And I would say the same thing to Hillary. Look, Hillary, if people don't want to vote for you or like you because of what your true history, personal history is, well, too bad for them. But it makes you look terrible if you have to lie about who you are. It means that you've got so much to hide. I don't. She does. And she's trying to hide even the stuff that has been in the public eye over the last 30 years. Because she's trying to relate to you. She's trying to relate to me. She can't do it through lies. Oh, yeah, she's going to win over some people. Just like Elizabeth Warren did. Even after Elizabeth Warren was caught lying, she tried to get herself, weasel herself out of it. Well, that's what my grandmammy or mom used to always say. I heard stories about us being Cherokee. Really? In this day and age, you're not going to try to find out who you are? Yeah. But she's out there lying about her. Granted, her grandparents are long gone. But how are you embarrassed by your grandma? Look, my grandparents, they worked hard. I'm not embarrassed by them. My mother's father was a Southern Baptist preacher. And he worked in a mill. I don't remember the kind of mill he worked in, but he worked in a mill. He was a blue-collar worker all his life. My father's dad worked in a sugar plant for as long as I know. He was a hard-working man. He was also, from what I understand, a pitcher in the old Negro Baseball League. It's basically the equivalent of pro baseball for blacks back then because they couldn't be a part of the National Baseball League. And I remember him saying, when I was young, telling us stories about how he struck out some baseball players that, we know about that went into the Professional Baseball League. He pitched against some of them, struck him out. He was called Big Jim. My grandfather on my father's side, he was a big man. He was like 6'3", 6'4", humongous hands. He would show us a baseball, and he would be able to just about encompass that baseball with his hand. See, these are stories that I grew up with and people can find out if I'm telling the truth about my grandfather. It's not hard. But they don't think that you're going to find out. Even in this day and age, they think they can still scam you. Hillary Clinton was telling those lies because she thought, and she believed, I can just lie to these people because they're never going to find out. And we did. And not only did we find out, but there are so many people that still believe in her. I don't. She's nothing but a scam artist, folks. A scam artist. Plain and simple. I'm out of time. I'll see you tomorrow. Right back here. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.